Good morning, my dear students. First of all, I wish you all a happy new year. Welcome to 2021. Hope you all are safe and secure. Stay home, stay safe. Welcome to today's English class. In the previous class, we have started our Unit 8. The theme of the unit is gratitude. Previous class we have already started reading a Dr.Dwarakanath Kotnis part 1. Today let us discuss and analyze the part 2. Let us once again revise the part 1 of Dr. Dwarakanath Kotnis. Dwarakanath Kotnis was born on October 10, 1910 in Sholapur. Dr. Kotnis always wanted to travel around the world and practice medicine in different parts of the world. In 1938, a team of volunteer doctors was sent to China to help the soldiers engaged in Sino-Japanese War. Dr. Kotnis was among the team of 5 doctors. The doctors performed their duties in the war front and helped the soldiers. After the war, Dr. Kotnis stayed back at the military base, but all the other doctors returned to India. Dr. Kotnis loved and married a Chinese nurse, Guo. They had a son in Hua. Dr. Kotnis rendered remarkable service to Chinese soldiers and strained himself a lot. As a result, he died of epilepsy at the age of 32. The Chinese government built a memorial hall for him in 1976. Both China and India honored him with stamps in 1982 and in 1993. On a later occasion, Kotnis' family stood before his grave in North China Martyrs Memorial Cemetery, Hebei Province, meaning of grave, a place where dead bodies are buried, meaning of cemetery, an area of land where dead people are buried, meaning of province, region. So here Dr. Kotnis' family visited Kotnis' grave, means where Kotnis was buried in North China Martyrs Memorial Cemetery in Hebei region. The family also toured Shijiazhuang and visited the Dr. Butane International Peace Hospital, where Kotnis once served as its director. So the family also toured, means went to Shijiazhuang and visited the Dr. Butane International Peace Hospital, where Kotnis once served as a director. In exclusive interviews with China Daily in Beijing and Shanghai, the family members shared their memories of the doctor not only as a hero but also as a loved brother, husband, and an adventurous young man. So, in an exclusive, meaning of exclusive, special interviews with China. When the special interviews are there with China, daily in Beijing and Shanghai, the family members of Kotnis, they used to share their memories of the Dr. Kotnis. They used to tell that he is not only a hero, he is also a loved brother, husband, and an adventurous young man. He was vivacious and liked singing. Sometimes I couldn't stop laughing when he told jokes, said Guo, recalling Kotnis with a smile. So, who is I here in the given passage? Dr. Kotnis' wife, Guo. So, she says that Dr. Kotnis was vivacious, means attractive, and he also liked singing. Sometimes she couldn't stop laughing when he is telling the jokes. She is recalling all the Dr. Kotnis' memories with a smile. The tragic tale was to continue even after Dr. Kotnis' death. Their son, Inhua, who was 3 months old when Dr. Kotnis died, also passed away when he was just 25. So it is very a tragic story. Tragic story means sad story that Dr. Kotnis, when Dr. Kotnis' son was 3 months old, Dr. Kotnis expired. Coming to Dr. Kotnis' son also, he just passed away when he was only just 25 years. So Dr. Kotnis' son also passed away when he was just 25 years. Mrs. Kotnis moved to Dalian in the 60s and lived there since. So, at the age of 60s, Mrs. Kotnis, she moved to Dalian and she lived there. Despite the two premature deaths, Mrs. Kotnis never let VIIIS cover her India connection. She visited the country at least half a dozen times and maintained her links with the Kotnis family. So, she says that meaning of here premature, ultimately. So, here she says that the premature deaths, after the premature deaths also, she never let the connection with the India. She always used to visit the country. At least half a dozen times she visited and maintained her links with the Kotnis family to India. Mrs. Kotnis has been an honored guest at many high-level diplomatic functions between China and India, such as the banquet Dalian Mayor Bo Xilai hosted for then Indian President K.R. Narayanan in June 2000 and during the visit of then Indian Prime Minister Vajpayee to Beijing in June 2003. Here, meaning of diplomatic, connected with managing relations among countries. So here, after the death of their son, Mrs. Kotnis continued her links with India and his family. She has been honored as a guest at many high-level diplomatic functions. This shows that Mrs. Kotnis is good-natured and gentle. So she is honored with our President K.R. Narayanan and our Indian Prime Minister Vajpayee in Beijing to June 2003. And she was a regular invitee at the Indian Embassy functions in China. Here, meaning of embassy, office of an ambassador in a foreign country. In November 2006, she accompanied Chinese President Hu Jintao on a state visit to India. She died on 28th June 2012. So when did Mrs. Kotnis die there? She died on 28th June 2012. We all know that Dr. Kotnis extended invaluable medical service to China, isn't it? He married a Chinese nurse. To honor his services, his wife is invited. So who is invited there? His wife. Whose wife? Dr. Kotnis' wife is invited to all important events at Indian Embassy in China. Few in Mumbai or the rest of the country know about the doctor who served in China during the 1938 Sino-Japanese War and died there in 1942, says his septuagenarian younger sister Vatsala. So his here meaning of septuagenarian, a person who crossed 70. So who is the younger sister of Dr. Kotnis? Vatsala. So she crossed the age of 70 years. She is above 70 years. She says that few in Mumbai or the rest of the country know about his brother who served in China during 1938 Sino-Japanese War and he died there in 1942. Who says this sentence there? Sister Vatsala. However, Dr. Kotnis became famous in his hometown after his death with the publication of his best-selling biography, One Who Never Written, written by a film journalist Khwaja Abbas Ahmad in 1945 and the screening of the 1946 classic Bollywood movie Dr. Kotnis Ki Amar Kahani, directed by V. Shantaram. So, Dr. Kotnis became very famous in his hometown after his death with the publication of his best-selling biography, One Who Never Written, written by a film journalist Khwaja Abbas Ahmad in 1942. And Dr. Kotnis also became familiar with the screening, means with the movie of the 1946 classic Bollywood movie. So what was the name of the movie? Dr. Kotnis Ki Amar Kahani, directed by V. Shantaram. Echoing Vatsala is Lina Fernandez, the General Secretary of the Mumbai chapter of the Indo-China Friendship Association. Friendly ties between India and China have their own significance even on a humanitarian level. the selfless service rendered by Dr. Dwarakanath Shantaram Kotnis, a proud son of India during the Sino-Japanese War, and to wounded Chinese soldiers is an evergreen symbol of the human relationship between the people of India and China. Here meaning of echo, repeated reflection of a noise. Here Vatsala is Lena Fernandez, who is the General Secretary of the Mumbai chapter of the Indo-China Friendship Association. So she ties the friendly relationship between India and China. She says that India and China have their own significance on a humanitarian level. She says that the selfless service rendered by Dr. Dwarakanath Shantaram Kotnis, he was a proud son of India, because during the Sino-Japanese War and to wounded Chinese soldiers is an evergreen symbol, isn't it? He did a very big, he rendered his selfless service to the Chinese soldiers of the human relationship between the people of India and China. Added Kotnis' elder sister Manorama, sitting in their 60-year apartment crowded with Chinese memorabilia, had it not been for the renowned filmmaker V. Shantaram and the Amar Chitrakatha comic book and maybe a few others, Indians would have never known how our brother who served in Mao Zedong's Red Army saved lives during the war. Here meaning of memorabilia, objects that are collected in memory of persons and events. So Dr. Kotnis' elder sister Manorama, so her age was 60. She says that in his brother's memory, the movie Dr. Amar Chitra Kahani and the book, because of Amar Chitra Katha book and because of the movie itself, my brother was known to everybody. Otherwise, the few others and Indians would have never known how my brother who served in Mao Zedong's Red Army saved lives during the war. She says that because of the movie and because of the book itself, few and others know how his brother saved the lives of the soldiers during the second Sino-Japanese War. So who says this all? Dr. Kotnis' elder sister Manorama. Let us once again go through the lesson. Kotnis family visited Kotnis' grave in North China Martyrs Memorial Cemetery, Hebei Province. The family also toured Shijiazhuang and visited the Dr. Butane International Peace Hospital. The tragic tale was continued even after Dr. Kotnis' death. His son, In Hua, also died when he was just 25. Despite the two premature deaths, Mrs. Kotnis continued her connections with Dr. Kotnis' family even after his death. Mrs. Kotnis visited the country at least half a dozen times and maintained her links with the Kotnis family. This shows us that Mrs. Kotnis is good-natured and gentle. So, Dr. Kotnis extended invaluable medical service to China. He married a Chinese nurse. To honor his services, his wife is invited to all important events at Indian Embassy in China. Dr. Kotnis became famous in his hometown after his death with the publication of his best-selling biography, One Who Never Returned, written by a film journalist Khwaja Abbas Ahmad in 1945. Dr. Kotnis also became familiar with the screening of the 1946 classic Bollywood movie Dr. Kotnis Ki Amar Kahani, directed by V. Shantaram. So, we can say that Dr. Kotnis was intelligent. He had set goals for himself. He was determined to pursue his goals. He was bold enough to marry a foreign woman, and he was selfless. Let us go through the glossary of the lesson. Meaning of grave, a place where dead bodies are buried. Meaning of cemetery, an area of land where dead people are buried. Meaning of province, region. Meaning of exclusive, special. Meaning of premature, untimely. Meaning of diplomatic, connected with managing relations among countries. Meaning of embassy, office of an ambassador in a foreign country. Meaning of venerate, to have and show a lot of respect. Meaning of septuagenarian, a person who crossed 70 years. Meaning of echo, repeated reflection of a noise. Meaning of memorabilia, objects that are collected in memory of persons and events. Let us go through the question answers. What was Dr. Kotnis' contribution to the Dr. Butane International Peace Hospital in China? So what was the contribution to the Dr. Butane International Peace Hospital in China, children? Because as Dr. Kotnis worked as a lecturer for some time in the military area at the Dr. Butane Hygiene School, he worked as the first president of the Butane International Peace Hospital of Dr. Norman Butane passed away. Why did Dr. Kotnis opt to stay back in China? Why did he think to stay back in China, children? Because Dr. Kotnis loved to work for peace and to save the lives that are in danger. He was a true human being and selfless doctor. When he took the decision to stay back in China, Red Army was fighting for the liberation of China. Perhaps all these factors were reasons behind his decision to stay back in China. How did the Chinese show their gratitude towards Dr. Kotnis? How did they show their gratitude, children? Chinese people? Yes, the Chinese government built a memorial hall for Dr. Kotnis in 1976. A book, Passage from India to China, which was written by Dr. Kotnis, was kept in a small museum. Isn't it? The government of China honored Dr. Kotnis by releasing a stamp in his memory in 1982. Thus, the Chinese showed great respect towards Dr. Kotnis. So, the Chinese government built a memorial hall, and then the book written by Dr. Kotnis. What was the name of the book? Passage from India to China. It was kept in a small museum. And the government also, Chinese government also released a stamp in his memory in 1982. So it is very important answer, children. Go through it once again. Next question. Why was Mrs. Kotnis a regular invitee at the Indian embassy functions in China? Why was she a regular invitee? Regularly, why did she invite there? Because the services rendered by Mr. Kotnis to the people of China were remarkable. The people and the government of China recognized his selfless services. They honored him even after his death in many ways. In continuation of this, Mrs. Kotnis had been a regular invitee at the Indian embassy functions in China. This is an evidence that Dr. Kotnis was revered by Indian government also, isn't it? Because the services rendered by Mr. Kotnis to the people of China were remarkable. So, the people and the government of China always recognized Dr. Kotnis' selfless services. The people and the government honored him after his death also in many ways. Coming to the last question. What sort of person do you think was Dr. Kotnis? What were your impressions about him? So what are your impressions about him, children? What kind of person was he? We all know that he is a selfless person, isn't it? Dr. Kotnis was a dedicated doctor. He had international understanding. He worked as a frontline doctor in a Chinese military base. He performed his duties up to 72 hours continuously. Beside this, he married a Chinese nurse and decided to stay there. He even risked his life while doing such work in the battlefield and died of epilepsy in 1942. But he is still alive in the hearts of the Chinese because as he rendered his selfless service to the Chinese military people. He also married. He performed his duties up to 72 hours continuously for the soldiers there. Beside this, he married a Chinese nurse and decided to stay there. He even risked his life, and he also died with the disease of epilepsy in 1942, and he is still alive in the hearts of the Chinese. Children, read the lesson with the help of the glossary and write the given glossary and comprehension in your classwork and send it to my given WhatsApp number. Thank you. Have a nice day.